Have you ever wondered why so many older adults wake up at 3 a.m. and can't seem to fall back asleep? You might find yourself lying there in the quiet of the night, staring at the ceiling, wondering what's wrong with your body or your mind. The truth is, this phenomenon is more common than you think. And it's not just a random habit or simply a result of aging. In this video, we're going to explore 5 powerful reasons why people often wake up around 3 a.m. as they get older, and what those early wake-ups might really mean for your health. Each reason reveals something deeper about your body, your health, and your life experience. By the end of this video, you might see your sleep in an entirely new light. These aren't just surface-level explanations, they're grounded in real physiology, psychology, and the rhythms of aging that most people aren't even aware of. We'll talk about hormonal changes, sleep patterns, health challenges, as well as emotional and social influences that might be quietly working in the background. We'll approach all of this in an honest, empowering, and deeply respectful way, honoring the life you've lived up to this point. So if you've ever found yourself waking up around 3 a.m. and wondering why, you're in the right place. Stay with us until the end, because what you learn here might not only help you sleep better, it could also help you better understand and appreciate what your body is going through. Let's begin. 1. Decreased melatonin production. One of the most common reasons why older adults wake up in the middle of the night, often around 3 a.m., is the natural decline in melatonin production that comes with age. Melatonin is the hormone that helps regulate our sleep-wake cycle, often referred to as the body's internal clock. It plays a key role in helping you fall asleep and stay asleep. When you were younger, your body likely produced a steady amount of melatonin each night, allowing you to enjoy long stretches of deep, uninterrupted sleep. But as the years go by, your body gradually produces less of it. And this change can significantly affect your sleep quality. You might still fall asleep easily at night, especially after a full day or a relaxing evening, but during the early morning hours, around 2, 3, or sometimes 4 a.m., your natural melatonin levels may drop too low to keep you in a deep sleep. You may find yourself waking up, not because of a loud noise or a bad dream, but simply because your brain is slowly shifting toward a waking state, without enough melatonin to hold you in sleep. This isn't something you're doing wrong, and it doesn't mean your body is failing you. It simply means that your internal chemistry is changing with age. On top of that, your sleep environment can make things worse. Even small amounts of light, from a street lamp outside, a blinking clock on the nightstand, or a hallway light peeking through the door, can further reduce melatonin. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to environmental triggers, making that 3 a.m. wake-up even more frustrating. Take Michael, for example. He's 74 and has always considered himself a good sleeper, but recently, he's been waking up around 3:15 a.m. every night. He doesn't feel anxious or disturbed, just completely awake as if it's time to start the day. Once he understood that this wasn't a failure on his part, but a natural part of aging related to melatonin, he stopped blaming himself and started making adjustments. Now, he keeps his bedroom darker, avoids screens for an hour before bed, and takes a short walk in the evening to help reset his natural circadian rhythm. These small changes helped signal to his body that it's still nighttime. And while he still wakes up early occasionally, he's learned to work with his body instead of fighting against it. This kind of understanding can be a real game changer. When you realize that waking up early is a natural part of aging and not a problem to be fixed, you can shift your habits and stop seeing it as a source of frustration. It becomes a way to care for yourself and support your well-being in a positive, empowering way. Number 2. Shifted sleep cycle and advanced sleep phase. Another important reason why older adults tend to wake up around 3 a.m. is the natural shift in the body's internal clock, a phenomenon known as advanced sleep phase syndrome. As we age, our circadian rhythms begin to shift earlier, meaning we start feeling sleepy earlier in the evening and tend to wake up earlier in the morning. You may have noticed that you often fall asleep during a late-night movie, or that you wake up without an alarm at sunrise, even on days when you'd rather sleep longer. This shift isn't just about habit, It's deeply rooted in biology, and it becomes more pronounced with each passing year. Earlier in life, the body's rhythm is typically aligned with later bedtimes and wake-ups that match the sun's cycle. But as this rhythm shifts forward, your natural sleep window changes too. You might find yourself falling asleep at 9 p.m. or even earlier, without intending to. So by the time 3 a.m. arrives, your body may have already completed its full rest cycle. That's why you may find yourself wide awake in the middle of the night, feeling like your rest is over, even though it's still completely dark outside. This doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It simply means your body is operating on a different schedule. It's like an internal clock that has gently reset itself over the years, ticking forward a little more with each season. And while this isn't harmful, it can be frustrating if your lifestyle, family routine, or personal preferences don't match this new rhythm. There's also a psychological aspect to this shift. Many older adults live in quieter homes or spend more time alone, and that peaceful environment can amplify the body's natural signals to wind down earlier in the day. Without the bustle and noise that once delayed bedtime, your system begins its shutdown process earlier. And if you're no longer working full-time or following a strict routine, the lack of external cues like meetings, commuting, or social events can make this internal shift even stronger. Take Paul, for example. He's 70 and retired. He usually has dinner around 5:30 p.m., watches TV for an hour, and is asleep by 9 p.m. By 3 a.m., his body is naturally ready to wake up. He doesn't feel anxious or stressed, just alert. At first, he thought it was insomnia. But after learning about advanced sleep phase, he realized his sleep wasn't broken. It was simply shifting. So Paul began adjusting his evening routine to stay awake a bit longer, reading under a soft light, taking a short walk after dinner, and occasionally calling his daughter for a short chat before bed. These small social and sensory cues helped stretch his sleep window just enough to push his wake-up time closer to morning. The result? Fewer 3 a.m. wake-ups and better alignment with his daily life. This natural shift in sleep cycle is something many older adults experience, yet few talk about. Understanding it can remove a lot of guilt and confusion and offer a more compassionate way to work with your body instead of against it. So, if you find yourself waking up around 3 a.m. and feeling like you've had a full night's sleep, your body may simply be running on an earlier schedule now. And once you know that, you can begin to adjust your routine in ways that support your well-being. Number 3. Physical discomfort and health-related interruptions. Another common reason older adults tend to wake up around 3 a.m. is the body's response to physical discomfort or underlying health issues that often become more noticeable during the quiet hours of the night. As we age, the chances of dealing with chronic conditions or subtle health problems increase. And many of these issues have a way of disrupting sleep silently. They sneak in, like a stiff joint, a full bladder, or a sudden ache in the back. And that's often enough to pull you out of sleep in the middle of the night. Conditions like arthritis, for instance, can make it uncomfortable to stay in the same position for hours. You may not notice the discomfort as you drift off, but after several hours of stillness, the pain may intensify just enough to wake you. For others, nighttime acid reflux can jolt them awake, especially if they've eaten too late or laid down too soon after a meal. Even something as seemingly minor as a dry mouth, a muscle cramp, or a slight change in room temperature can trigger a light awakening during the early morning hours, a time when your body is already more sensitive and less tolerant than it once was. One of the most common physical reasons older men wake up around 3 a.m. is the need to urinate. As we age, the bladder becomes less elastic, and the urge to empty it comes more quickly and more frequently. You might not notice it during the day, when your mind is busy with other things. But at 3 a.m., in a dark and quiet room, that urge becomes impossible to ignore. And once you get up and move, even if it's just to go to the bathroom, your body may already have shifted from deep sleep into a lighter state of alertness, making it harder to fall back asleep afterward. There's also the issue of medications that many older adults take regularly. For blood pressure, heart health, or pain management, these medications often have side effects like increased urination, changes in body temperature, or heightened sensitivity to noise or light, all of which can silently affect your sleep. You may not even realize the connection between your medication and your sleep patterns until someone points it out, or you begin tracking your habits more closely. Take Margaret, for example, a 76-year-old woman who had always been a fairly good sleeper. But for the past year, she found herself waking up consistently around 3:30 a.m. After months of assuming it was just aging, she finally spoke to her doctor and discovered that one of her medications was affecting her hydration levels and increasing her nighttime trips to the bathroom. With her doctor's help, she adjusted the timing of her medication, made a few lifestyle changes, and now she wakes up less frequently and falls back asleep more easily. The key takeaway here is this: waking up due to physical reasons doesn't mean your body is failing. Quite the opposite, it's a sign your body is still working, responding, adapting, and alerting you. These signals can guide you toward better care, more informed choices, and a deeper trust in your own awareness. Waking up at 3 a.m. might feel inconvenient, but it can also be a quiet reminder to listen to yourself, check in with your body, and make small changes that support better health and more restful sleep. Number 4. Daily habits that shift your sleep rhythm. Another powerful, but often overlooked, reason why older adults find themselves awake at 3 a.m. lies in well-established daily habits. Small routines and lifestyle choices that, over time, quietly shift your internal clock. Many older adults naturally begin to eat dinner earlier, wind down sooner, and have less physical activity during the day. These seemingly minor adjustments build up and may signal to the body that nighttime should begin earlier, which inevitably pushes your wake-up time earlier as well. When your days become calmer, especially after retirement, your body no longer receives the same external cues it used to, like commuting, running errands, or engaging in mentally or physically stimulating tasks. Without these cues, the body's sleep-wake cycle can start to drift forward. A quiet, low-light evening with little stimulation may prompt your brain to start producing melatonin earlier, signaling sleep before you even realize it's just past 9 p.m. Once you fall asleep earlier, your body simply finishes its rest cycle earlier, waking you up in those early hours of the morning, often around 3 a.m. There's also a subtle connection between meal timing and sleep quality. Eating dinner early, while often healthy, can sometimes lead to a drop in blood sugar during the night, especially if you don't have a light snack before bed. This dip might not feel like hunger, but it can still wake the body up in the middle of the night. Similarly, caffeine consumed even in the early afternoon can linger in your system, especially as metabolism slows with age, slightly disrupting your sleep and making you more sensitive to nighttime disturbances. Take Jake, for example, a 74-year-old, recently retired man. These changes crept in gradually. His days became less structured and his evenings more relaxed. He started eating dinner around 5 p.m., falling asleep in his chair during the evening news, and heading to bed before 9 p.m. most nights. Without realizing it, his entire routine had shifted several hours earlier. Before long, he began waking up around 3 a.m., wide awake before even the birds began to sing. After reflecting on his habits, Jake made small changes. He added a short afternoon walk, read under brighter lights in the evening, and avoided napping after dinner. These changes helped gently push his sleep cycle later, allowing his body to adjust to a rhythm more in line with his ideal wake-up time. What's remarkable is how often we underestimate the power of routine. Our bodies need rhythm, daily patterns that act as cues telling the brain when it's time to rest and when it's time to wake. When these signals fade or shift, the body's internal clock can lose its alignment, leading to earlier and more fragmented sleep. But by observing these patterns and making thoughtful adjustments, you can gently guide your body toward a more restorative and less disrupted sleep cycle. If you're still watching this video and finding this information helpful, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful, informative, and inspiring content. Now, let's continue. Number 5. Emotional and psychological restlessness. Sometimes, waking up at 3 a.m. has less to do with the body and more to do with the mind. As we age, emotional layers that were once buried beneath the busyness of everyday life can begin to resurface in the stillness of the night. Those early morning hours, when the world is quiet and distractions are few, often become the stage where unspoken worries, old regrets, or long-held desires begin to emerge. You may find yourself lying awake, not because of noise or pain, but because your mind is replaying memories, unresolved thoughts, or subtle anxieties you didn't even realize were still with you. This type of restlessness is different from the anxiety that may show up earlier in life. It's quieter, more reflective. It can feel like a soft hum in the background, a sense that something is unsettled, even if you can't quite name it. When the mind isn't actively occupied, it tends to revisit old relationships, past decisions, losses endured, or words left unsaid. And as the body no longer moves from one responsibility to the next, there's space for those thoughts to echo more deeply. It's also important to recognize the role that loneliness can play here. For many older adults, social circles naturally shrink over time. Children move away, friends become busy, and routines change. The day may be filled with light and activity, but nighttime brings silence, and with it, an awareness of emotional emptiness. This kind of loneliness doesn't always feel heavy. Sometimes it simply shows up as a desire for connection or a quiet ache for someone to talk to when the house is still. Take Mary, for example, an 80-year-old widow. During the day, she stays busy tending to her garden, calling her grandchildren, and watching her favorite shows. But around 3 a.m., she often finds herself wide awake, her thoughts drifting back to moments shared with her late husband or to concerns she keeps tucked away during daylight hours. At first, she thought something was wrong with her sleep. But over time, she realized that these early wake-ups weren't about sleep at all. They were about her heart needing to be heard. To support herself, Mary began keeping a small notebook by her bed. When she woke up, she would sometimes write down what was on her mind. Nothing fancy, just honest thoughts. She also added a quiet evening ritual, listening to soft music or writing a short note to a friend. These small acts of reflection and connection gave her a gentle outlet for her emotions, calming her mind and helping her return to sleep more peacefully. The truth is, the human heart doesn't follow a strict schedule. It remembers what it wants to remember, asks the questions it needs to ask, and sometimes it does so at 3 a.m. when everything else is silent. But this isn't a flaw, it's a sign of depth. If you wake up and feel reflective, it may simply mean that you carry wisdom waiting to be acknowledged. You've lived through joys and sorrows, and those experiences shape not only your memories, but your very sense of identity. Instead of seeing these wake-ups as something to fix, try approaching them with curiosity and kindness. What is your mind trying to tell you? What needs to be released? What part of you might need a little grace, even in the darkness? Sometimes, the most meaningful rest doesn't come from ignoring these moments, but from honoring them. And in doing so, you may not only find better sleep, but a deeper understanding of yourself in this season of life. Final reflections. At the end of this video, take a moment to reflect on what you've just heard. What stood out to you the most? Was it the shift in your internal clock, the subtle changes in your health, or perhaps something deeper, an emotional rhythm that only surfaces when the world is quiet? Each of these 5 reasons offers a different perspective for understanding your early wake-ups, and none of them suggest that something is broken or wrong. In fact, each one reveals how your body and mind are still working, still responding, still adapting as you move through this stage of life. There is a quiet power in understanding what your body is trying to tell you, especially in those soft hours before dawn. Instead of seeing 3 a.m. wake-ups as a disturbance, you might begin to see them as messages, gentle signals reminding you to listen more closely to your needs, your habits, and your heart. You are not alone in this experience, and you are certainly not the only one searching for answers. But with understanding comes strength, and with strength comes the freedom to make small, meaningful changes that support deeper rest, greater comfort, and a stronger connection to your own rhythms. If you recognized yourself in any of these reasons today, know that you're not just aging, you're evolving. And with that evolution comes an opportunity to rest more intentionally, to care for yourself more gently, and to greet each morning with a bit more awareness and peace. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts truly matter to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it. Your support helps us continue to create meaningful content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.